Hey guys, this is Blue One here, and I'm going to be making an interesting tutorial today. I'm not going to be doing a tutorial on how to make plugins. A friend requested that I make a tutorial on how to make a server, so that'll be a lot of fun. I've got a whole bunch of servers right here that I've made. A little note to myself there, but this is something that I'm going to be showing you that I'll have a link to download in the description, and all it is it's a basic starter server. It has run.bat, it has the Spigot YML, Bucket YML, it has all of the basic stuff there. Um, and I'll be showing you how to use it, how to install it, how to add plugins. These are your instructions right here, how to set up your server, and that's empty. Okay, um, I'll have to fix that. I thought I had instructions in there. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to be showing you how to make a server today, how to port forward. Let's get right to it. So first off, you're going to have to know your IPv4 address and your IPv6, your default gateway. You're going to have to figure out how to do that stuff. So if you're using Windows, I don't know how to do anything on the Mac really, but I believe there's a command button. If there is, if you know how to open your command prompt, do so. On Windows, you'll press the Windows button, which just is the four squares that normally opens this, but instead hold it down and press R. It'll open up this little run window here where you can find things. Type CMD, click OK, opens up this nice little command prompt. Type ipconfig in there. And here's your IP configuration settings, everything having to do with your IP address. So we have my IPv4 address right here, 10.0.0.2, we have our subnet mask, and we have our default gateway. Port forwarding is an interesting thing. The basics of what port forwarding is. Let's make a little illustration for you. Alright, we'll get our tools open. Alright, so here's your home computer. Alright, it's one of those really old computers, so it's got one of those great big bulky. Alright, and here's your chair. See if we can make something here. Alright, obviously it's not proportionate, but that's not really the point. Here, we'll give you a little keyboard. Very well. Okay, so how this works is you've got your computer, and it works with its own system. Everything in your computer is connected to every other computer in your entire house. So you might have a computer over here in a different room, might have a cell phone over here, and they're all connected to the same Wi-Fi. Maybe they're all hardwired in, I don't know. It's your computer. But everything in your home is on the same what they call a network. Now, the World Wide Web, the WWW, the Internet, is its own network, and it's all connected to itself, and you're connected to it. But there's something called a firewall, and it doesn't let anything in or out unless you say it can, and it would go right about here, just inside your computer, right at the very end of the Ethernet cable, keeping information from going in or out that you don't want to keep hackers and stuff out of your home. So there's also something called a default setting where nobody can connect to your computer unless you have a port open. So a port is kind of like a doorway where things can come in and out. So let's open us a port right up here. Go into your command prompt, find your default gateway. Mine's 10.0.0.1. It'll be different for everybody, but it should look something like that. And just type in 10.0.0.1 into your internet browser here. 10.0.0.1. I've done it before, so it has the slash after it by default. Now it'll ask you for your username and password. Normally this is just admin and password. Sometimes it might be different if you actually had it changed. So if you don't know your username and password for this, if you're living with your parents, ask them. They should probably know. If they don't, you can always ask your internet service provider, and they'll tell you what your username and password is so that you can do this. Press OK as soon as you've got them in. And this is for a Netgear router, so every router's web page will look just a little bit different. But they should all look something like this. They should have an advanced settings section, or at least right here, a port forwarding and port triggering section, and that might be anywhere on the screen. I don't know where it would be on for you, but this is where it is for me. It depends on the system you're using, but you'll click on that, it'll bring you to a page that looks something like this without all of these on there. These are ones that I've opened. This is my server using the default Minecraft port. This is my dynamic maps, my Skyblock dynamic maps, my voting port, and my Guild of Thieves port, which is where I test out some plugins that I make. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a custom service. Yours might just say add service or new service or something like that. I don't know what yours will say. I've only really ever used this one, but we'll say something like that. I have seen other people's and helped them set theirs up. So you'll click on the port that you want to use or the computer you want to use. Mine is John-PC, which by the way is not my name. I bought the computer from a guy in Florida. 10.0.0.2, you can find which one is yours because right here your IPv4 address is what you want to find. That's your home computer. That's your personal computer, the one you're sitting on right now. Then you go to your service name it whatever you want. We're going to name this one YouTube just to follow conventions. Set the default starting port, external starting port, and external ending port to 25565. I already have mine set up with the 25565, so I'm going to do 25564. You can do any you want, but if you do anything other than 25565, you have to then put the port in there with part of your IP address when you go to join the server. If you use 25565, then you don't have to do that, and it's defaulted to 25565. So just put that in there. Make sure your internal starting and ending are the same if it shows them. If you have an option to do TCP, UDP, or both, always choose both. As soon as you've got this done, click Apply. Congratulations, you're done. There it is, YouTube. So now we can X out of this. Let's go back to our main screen here. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this YouTube server. And I have a link that I'll put in the description. To download this file right here, it'll be in a zipped file, so I'll show you what that'll look like here if you're not experienced with that. Okay, it'll look just like this. So now you'll take this, drag it into your folder, open up your folder, right click it, go to 7-zip or zip or WinRAR or whatever you have to open zipped folders, and go to extract files or extract here. We're going to have it extracted directly into this folder. And there it is. So now we can delete this because we don't need it anymore. Open this up, or actually, better yet, drag it out of your folder, back into your desktop, or wherever you want to keep your server folder. And we're going to have to rename it first. We already have one called YouTube server. Now we're screwed. We'll do YouTube server 2. Ah. Okay, now we'll drag it out there. Okay, now we can get rid of these. Yes, and this is your server. This holds everything you need to run a server. Let's open it up. And if you double click run right now, you may experience problems because you need to agree to the EULA, the End User License Agreement. Read it here at this location. I've already read it, so I don't need to read it again. But it basically just tells you what's legal, what's not, what you're allowed to do, what you're allowed to sell, what you're allowed to give away to other people. It's a good thing to know. If you're just going to run it for yourself, I'm not going to make you read it, but I am going to say it's still a good idea just so that you know what you're getting into. So now change false to true as soon as you've read that. Let's click save and X out of this. Now we're going to click on our run and click edit. Should open it in your notepad or whatever editing software you've got. At echo off, you can just leave that there. That's an annotation. Excuse me. You can leave the pause as well. This is the line that you're going to want to be looking at. Java just tells it to run a particular file. This is going to be run in a command prompt, so it will be opening a command prompt to do so. This will be your console. This little section right here, very important to change this. Most people don't have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and if they do, they don't want to set this to 16. Luckily for me, I have 32, so I can set this as high as 24 if I want to, and really I could set it higher. I would recommend setting it to half of your RAM, maybe 75% if you're not going to be doing a whole lot else at the time. If you've only got 8 gigabytes of RAM, set this to 4. Alright, so I'm going to set it to 12 just because, I don't know, I guess I'll set it 7. I like 7. 7's a good number. And then change I'll explain what this is afterwards. Change this to 1 or 2, whatever you want it to be at. Here's what they do. This is the maximum amount of RAM that will be used for it. If you have 7 extra gigabytes of RAM that are not being used, it will use all 7 to keep the server running smooth, keep everybody from lagging. It's a very good thing to have. This is the minimum that it can run on. So if you don't have 1 gigabyte free, it will stop the server. It'll say you've run out of memory and it'll stop the server. It's basically keeps people from lagging really badly and ending up being annoyed, and instead will stop the server, shut it down. You can restart it. Then it'll basically let you know that something's wrong, that you need to shut down something on your computer. This is the name of the file that you will be using. I recommend Spigot, but you can use CraftBucket if you're more comfortable with it. Spigot tends to have more available settings, and it runs smoother. So CraftBucket 1.9.2 is what we normally just call Bucket. Spigot is Spigot, and that's all it is. So right here, you'll change this if you want to use CraftBucket to CraftBucket-1.9.2.jar. I'm going to keep it on Spigot because I prefer Spigot. You can leave the rest of this how it is. Click Save when you're done. Click X. Now what you need to do, you can delete the one you didn't use, which in my case would be CraftBucket. Since this isn't a permanent thing for me, I'm not going to delete it because I'd like to have this full copy around. But now let's double click Run and see what happens. It'll load the libraries. It should build a world shortly. Oh, failed to bind to port. Address already in use. Apparently I have something on that port already. Interesting. Oh, yes, I know why. I forgot to point out one last thing. That's what will happen when you are not using the port that you left open. It's already set to 25565 as a default. Here's your properties file. It'll just say server, it might say server.properties. Double click that, or open it either way. And where you find server port, change this to 25564. If you have it set to that, change it to whatever port you made open when you port forwarded. I'm going to have it to 25564. If you just set it to the default, leave it at 25565, you shouldn't have even had that problem. If you do, you can ask me why and I can help you out with that. So now let's run this again. Should create a world file. And look at that, it did. Look at it preparing the spawn area. I have a lot of RAM and a really good CPU, GPU, so this might go a little slower for you. Don't worry if it does, it's not having any problems, it's just trying to set up the spawn for you. The first server I set up was on a laptop and it took quite a bit of time, but this should be about done now. Yep, there it is, it's done. I was just on time. Okay, so now let's join the game. I put all of my desktop icons in here so that they wouldn't be a distraction or look really messy, and yes, it was really messy. Where is the Minecraft? Well, interesting. It seems to have disappeared. There it is. Let's put it back. That's odd. Well, I hope I didn't just screw something up. Tell you what, we'll go to app data. Go to Minecraft. And would it be in versions? I don't know. I think I messed something up, guys. I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm sorry about that. That was really unprofessional. We've got our Minecraft back now, so let's join the game, just like we'd planned to, and I just joined in 1.8. Again, my apologies. I'll see if I can get rid of this. Okay, you. Thank you. Go away. You. 1.9.2. And we're getting ready to join, so let's watch the console. We'll bring that up so we can watch it. There we go. Multiplayer. Let's add a new server. Um, it'll be your port, your your public IP address. Let's show you how to get your public IP address. Go here, click what is my public, can't type, IP. It's it's easy thing to do. You click on the first link that comes up. Here's my public IP address. You can connect to my server using this instead of play.blueskies.us.to. So let's put that right here. And because I didn't do 255.6, because I didn't have 255.65 as the default, I have to put the port at the end of it. We're getting a little pause there. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom. Here it is. It's open. Ready? Watch the console. Oh, UUID of player blue1 is such and such. Blue1 logged in. Here I am in the world. Alright, now let's op us. So let's go to the console and type op blue1. We'll need to capitalize that. There we go. Quite nice. Now let's do game mode 1. And in the console it logs every command you run. As you can see, it says blue1 set own game mode to creative mode, and it says blue1 issued server command game mode 1. So every command I issue, even if it doesn't do anything in the game, will be logged to the console. So if I just type some random string of characters, look at there, I issued that server command. Now of course in the game it says unknown command, but whatever. That's a nice little. Other servers can connect them through Bungee Cord. If you want help with any of this, by the way, I am open. I do like to help people, and I will help you with your server as much as I can. And I am also a developer, as is obvious by my other videos. I am for hire. I do have a price list, so if you have a server, I can give you an estimate on any plugin that you desire. So just hit me up in the comments, or you can find me on Spigot. I'm on there as blue1 with a lowercase b because that used to be my name. So I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the video. Make sure that you get yourself a nice server set up and invite me to it. I'll check it out. I'd love to see it. Love to see anything, any product that you've made. Anything I can help with, glad to see it. So I'm tired. Sorry if I'm repeating stuff. It's 11 o'clock at night, and I've been up for the last 2 nights coding stuff. So you guys have a great day.